Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the Detroit Lions and why I believe they're building themselves up to be Super Bowl contenders in the future. Let's get this started. So first I'm going to start off with comparing the Lions' past drafts and past regimes from Mayhew to Holmes and comparing their first drafts, why I think they're going to be different, and how their players ended up. So let's go. So first, in Mark Mayhew's first draft, the Detroit Lions selected Gosner Chirillis. Offensive tackle out of Boston College, Jordan linebacker out of Colorado. In the third round, selected Kevin Smith, running back out of the University of Central Florida. Andre Fullen, defensive tackle out of Florida State. Round 3, Cliff Averill, defensive end out of Purdue. 5th round, Kenneth Moore, receiver Wake Forest. Round 5, Jerome Felton, fullback out of Furman. Round 7, Landon Cohen, defensive tackle out of Ohio. 7, Caleb Campbell, safety out of Army. So, first off, the only similarity in this draft that the Lions had from 2021 NFL draft to 2008 is the selection of an offensive tackle in the first round. The rest, most players were in the skill position area, other than Andre Fullen and Cliff Averill, who were both third-round picks. But their other two selections were linebacker, running back, and then after those two, wide receiver, fullback, tackle, and safety. So it was kind of a more fairly balanced draft, but it was definitely more of a skill position based draft. So how did Gosner Chirillis' career go, being picked at number 17? Well, he lasted all the way to he was a part of that terrible Colts line, and he never really amounted to anything in his career. And I don't know. I mean, looking at it, he doesn't look like he really amounted to being that good of a tackle. I mean, he did get a fairly solid contract at 5 years, $35 million, but he seemed like he was a solid player, but he did not seem like a dominant player like a Sewell. So he seemed like a pretty good selection that Mayu got. Jordan Dizon, linebacker out of Colorado. He didn't last 2 years. He had a severe injury. Oops. Let's go back. Kevin Smith. Now, I actually know this guy was pretty good for the beginning of his career. Even I know about him. Let's see. Okay, let's... Kevin Smith, ESPN. That is not the player I'm looking for. Okay, Kevin Smith, Lions, ESPN. Okay, apparently I can't look him up on anywhere. So he was solid, but he never really amounted to anything. His first season was pretty good, but then he kind of regressed slowly, or via injuries, kept him out of the league. So the Lions have had only one good player so far in their 2008 NFL draft. And Andre Fluellen. Andre Fluellen. He's currently still playing in the league, surprisingly. Well, at least he's still listed as a free agent. Career. Never amounted to anything, so another bust for him. So, by the way, this is a live reaction, but just, I'm going to tell you about why I like the, you guys already know why I like the draft so much. I have a video on that. Cliff Averill. I don't even need to look into him. This guy was an amazing player for us. So, two good selections out of bust. Kenneth Moore. How did he amount? Kenneth Moore stats. Oh my. Too fast. Kenneth Moore stats. This guy even has stats. Never amounted to anything. Another bust. Jerome Felton, he was their fullback for a good while. And these players, I do not believe amounted to anything. Landon Cohen. What is this guy's good old stats? Defensive end. Never achieved a sack in his career, but he put up some solid stuff there. What about Caleb Campbell? Caleb Campbell. Or his stats from the University of Army. Career. Never amounted to anything. So, in total, Mayhew only really nailed 2 selections and got a solid player in Felton. In his first draft, 2016, Bob Quinn's first draft. Now, this is the drafts that I think everyone kind of is more aware of. Taylor Decker was a hit. Sean Robinson was a fairly good player for the Lions as a run stuffer, but not worth the second-round pick. You'd consider him a bust. They did not sign him. Graham Glasgow was one of the best guards in football and got a big contract. Hit. Miles Killebrew, bust. Joe Dahl, fairly good player. Anthony Williams, never amounted to a starter. Jake Rudock, never even got to keep his job as a backup. Zettel was letting go of. Landis was letting go of. Dwayne Washington. So, Bob Quinn kind of nailed his first 3 selections. I mean, got 3 solid players in his first 2 selections, and only 2 were hits. And Dahl was a solid player, but didn't really amount to anything towards the end of his career. So, Decker, as we know, is now top 5 left tackle. So that's a perfect hit, and he's a player still on our team. Glasgow should have been kept, but until we decided to remove him for Big V. But nonetheless, he was a good player. So Bob Quinn's first draft was pretty solid. And I would say, dare I say, kind of similar to the 2020 draft, as they both kind of invest in trenches, except Quinn was more offensive line than trenches. So let's compare that to the 2020 draft. Offensive tackle, D lineman, cornerback, receiver, linebacker, running back. So the Lions heavily invested into the trenches in their first draft, very similar to Quinn. Except Sewell was a top tier tackle, and he's supposed to be like generational, Trent Williams like. Whereas Decker was just supposed to be what Decker is now, right? He's supposed to be good, top tier tackle. So Levi Onwuzurike is supposedly supposed to be this kind of like Sheldon Richardson type defensive lineman who can just do everything well. He can pass rush well, he can run defend well, he can get pressure. Ellie McNeil is supposed to be that nose tackle that you have success with. That can stuff the run, but has a high end potential as a pass rusher. Ifitu, he's supposed to be this top tier corner with the size where he can be Tremaine Johnson with his Rams days like. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's supposed to be a Robert Woods type player. Derek Barnes, he's supposed to be Devin White like player. Jamar Jefferson, a healthier and better version of Kerryon Johnson. Some might say, well, since these drafts are somewhat similar, since they all drafted the linemen in their first draft, what makes this 2020 draft so special? Well, first of all, I think legitimately all these players, except maybe Jamar Jefferson, are going to be really good players. I think, and honestly, let's think about this first. Sewell was supposed to be drafted number 5 and would have been top 5 in almost any other draft. Levi was supposed to be a first rounder to many people. Aleem was supposed to be a second round draft pick. Ifitu, to many people, was a first round draft pick or even a second round unlock. So the fact the Lions got him in the late 3rd round was a steal. Amon-Ra was supposed to be 2nd to 3rd round, and he was a steal. Derek Barnes, he's honestly the only player that they got that normally would have been available. Jamar Jefferson was supposed to be a 4th to 5th round pick as well, and we got him in 7th. Now, this all fairly how it was supposed to. And I would even say we kind of reached for Sean Robinson and Miles Killebrew. This draft, meh. Only really like 2 good players, but this one I could see all of these guys be top tier players, and I can even see Jamar Jefferson being a good player year 3 if the Lions let go of Jamal Williams. So let me compare this to John Dorsey, the Lions senior assistant's first round draft pick. He himself drafted Eric Fisher in the 1st round. And the rest of the draft didn't make sense. So I was kind of like, so what is the comparison here? How it makes sense? Because Sean McVay didn't draft a lineman in the first round, and well, what was Sean Payton's first draft? I actually didn't think about that. What was Sean Payton's first draft? Did he draft himself a lineman? New Orleans Saints 2006 NFL draft. Yeah, he drafted Reggie Bush. So, in total, it didn't make sense to me. So I was like, honestly, our drafts are kind of more similar to the past drafts. Except I think, of course, those players are going to be all phenomenal compared to the Lions' many busts of the first two drafts by the past two regimes. So what makes it so special? Well, first off, you have to look at Kansas City's rebuild that you have with Dorsey. The Chiefs drafted Mitchell Schwartz in the second round, so they got themselves Mitchell Schwartz the year before, and then they drafted Eric Fisher next year. So very similar situation. Despite the fact the Chiefs already had a great left tackle, they went ahead and drafted Eric Fisher as a right tackle. Very similar to the Lions having Decker and then getting Sewell. I'm just saying, I'm not comparing this to the Chiefs, but that's kind of what happened. And another thing to look forward to. The Cleveland Browns. They drafted Jedrick Wills after bringing Jack Conklin. They got two good defensive tackles. Offensive tackles. They invested into the trenches. They had Wyatt Taylor come in. Then the Browns also drafted Jordan Elliott, a defensive tackle, despite having a good defensive line. They even had Sheldon Richardson. They had Larry O. Jory. I don't know how to pronounce his name. So why draft Jordan Elliott? They knew they needed to get pass rush, and they got that done that last year. But then let's talk about the 2019 49ers. What made their defense good? Was it their linebackers? San Francisco. No, it was their pass rush. It wasn't their skill position players. If we look here, 2019 regular season. The only fantastic receiving target was George Kittle. The Lions who says Hawkinson cannot have a George Kittle 2019 season? Who says Tyler Williams has gotten 1,000 yards? Who says he can't have the 800 yards deep? Let's look at this thing. The 49ers had DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead, Nick Bosa, D Ford on their D line, and they had Solomon Thomas. They had 5 good D linemen. What do the Lions have now? Michael Brockers, Deshaun Hand, Levi Onwuzurike, Aleem McNeil, Trey Flowers, and Romeo Gore. Whoa, we have 6 good D linemen, and we have John Pendicini as a good run stuffer. That's honestly pretty nice. And heck, what if Nick Williams even turns into a 6 sack for him? So you got like 8. Never mind. We're trying to act like Nick Williams would be good. That's some good trenches. They invested in their trenches. And guess what? The same thing for the San Francisco 49ers. They invested into the run game. You had Raheem Mostert go crazy. Matt Breida went crazy. Tevin Coleman went crazy. The Lions got themselves 3 good running backs. And DeAndre Swift, who I think is better than Raheem Mostert. Matt Breida, who I think Jamal Williams is better than Matt Breida. Tevin Coleman, I think is better than Jamar Jefferson, and I think for the most part, in a way, also Jamal Williams. I think Jamal Williams is a better runner, but I think Coleman is the better catcher. But nonetheless, my point is still standing. Jimmy Garoppolo was not even that good in the 2019 season. He was good. Like, don't get me wrong, 8 yards a throw, nearly 4,000 yards, 69.1% completion percentage, but the touchdown pick ratio wasn't great. It's not like he was Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or Patrick Mahomes. He was just good. Who says the Lions cannot slowly build up to be like a 2019 San Francisco 49ers? I also want to compare the Lions' current offense to a certain team. The 2017 Rams. Offensively, we are very similar. Come on, work for me, ESPN. There we go. Top tier running back, Swift and Gurley. Good rotational back, Malcolm Brown, and I think an even better version, Malcolm Brown and Jamal Williams. And here's the thing, the receiver corps. Not a single 900-yard receiver. Only one solid guy who had 869 yards, 5 touchdowns. That's it. The next best pass catcher is running back. Can you argue that for the Lions too, considering the fact we only have our one top tier pass catcher in Hawkinson? And apparently Tyrell Williams and now Amon-Ra? Just saying, we might not even need that 1,000-yard player to be good. We even have the same quarterback from that same year in golf. How about the fact that the Rams had Aaron Donald and Michael Brockers? Brockers is free tech, much like Levi Onwuzurike. I'm just saying. It's very possible. We don't need to have the most explosive teams. We are building smartly. We're getting the trenches. Think about this. The Lions have Trey Flowers locked for a couple of years. Romeo Gore now locked for a couple of years. Now you got the 4-year deals from the rookie defensive tackles. Then you extended Michael Brockers to 3 years. The only player who has like a shorter contract is Deshaun Hand. We're kind of set on our D-line. Our O-line, we got Sewell on his rookie contract. Jonah Jackson on his rookie contract. Frank Ragnow just got extended. Big V has his contract. Decker just got extended as well. We got our trenches secured. Now we can focus on our skill positions and build our teams, much like the Rams and Chiefs did. The Rams invested in their offense, and they got the 2 6th-ranked offensive lines in 17-18. They had their trenches ready. They got guys like Sue. They got guys like Donald. They had guys like Brockers. You know, they could definitely be a good team. And 2020 and the 2022 NFL draft, we can totally get a guy like Justin Ross or something, and we can get good receivers. We can get the safeties. We can get the linebackers. We can get whatever we need for the next year and totally be a good team. And I'm very confident that the Lions are building themselves to be a Super Bowl winning team. I believe they're going to dominate the North, honestly, unless the Vikings improve. And unless Rodgers stays for next couple of years. And if Goff doesn't work out, I've literally done a video already on why I think we have perfect replacements for him. I'm not scared for the Lions' future. I'm very confident in their future. Welcome to the Den, guys. One pride, and boy, should we be excited for our future.